Hello everyone, I am Laethas and welcome back again for another video. Today I have my manga haul for the month of March 2019, and hopefully you guys cannot hear the tempest that is going on outside. There's a lot of rain coming down right now, and hopefully that does not permeate into the video. I guess I will find out when I go to edit things. Maybe editing me will, tell me whether I'm dumb or not, but hopefully the rain is not too overbearing. But so without further ado, without talking about the weather, let's get right into this haul. To start off with, I have Volume 9 of Citrus, put out by 7 Seas in their larger trim format. Now, this series is 10 volumes long, so this is the second to last volume. Though this series does have a sequel series, though it has not yet been licensed. I would imagine that it will get licensed at some point. I believe this is one of 7 Seas' better-selling Yuri titles, so it wouldn't surprise me if at some point that sequel series does get licensed. There are also 2 sort of anthology volumes that go along with the first series. Not sure if those will ever get licensed, but if they do get licensed, it's more Citrus content. But for this first series without the sequel, this is the second to last volume. Cannot wait for that final volume to come out because I will be binge reading, probably starting over from the beginning. I think I got through volume like 6 before I decided to cut myself off because I like to binge read. And this series is very quick to get through. The volumes are kind of thin. I think they're in that 160-ish page range, if I'm not mistaken. And there isn't a whole lot of dialogue, so I can just fly through these volumes. As for this series as a Yuri, I definitely really like it, although this one is more on the physical side, as it is opposed to sort of more of an intimate romance. Though that they are intimate, it's not very innocent is what I'm trying to say, basically. They're very touchy-feely with one another, so those elements are definitely at play in this series, but I have been enjoying this series, and I cannot wait for the series to finally wrap up. Next, I have the 4th volume in the Ruby Anthology series. This one is I Burn, featuring Yang. Now, I still have yet to watch Ruby, but these volumes were fun, and I do enjoy anthology series. I think they bring sort of a unique take to different IPs, different stories, and it's really interesting to see different artists and authors' interpretations or own creations, so to speak, coming from those original IPs. So I really like anthology series, and I hope we can get some more of those in the future. I believe there's a Devilman anthology series. Hasn't been licensed in English, but I'd love to see it. Very similar, I believe, to how Neo Parasite was sort of written and conceived. But as for someone who isn't into Ruby, I still enjoyed these. They're not my, my favorite volumes, but I definitely enjoyed them, though maybe I wouldn't put them on a super high priority unless you are a big Ruby fan, but I do believe this is the final anthology volume for that series. Next up, I have the single volume series by Denpa Books, Maiden Railways by Asumiko Nakamura. Asumiko Nakamura is, of course, the same person that wrote Utsubora, the story of a novelist, which is one of my more favorite series that I have read. It's absolutely excellent. Would definitely recommend checking that one out. As for this series in comparison to that one, I don't feel it's as strong, but it's still definitely worth the read. I would definitely recommend picking up Maiden Railways. It's just kind of a bunch of stories, not really connected, but all sort of dealing with very similar things. And I would recommend checking this one out. It's only a single volume. Denpa releases really nice books. It comes with French flaps. I always love those. They have a bunch of color pages in here, as I'm sure you can see. Sort of right there, and there are some in the middle of the book as well. But yeah, I would definitely recommend picking up Maiden Railways. I really want to see where Denpa goes in the future, and they've definitely been licensing some series that I never would have thought we would have gotten, but they're coming in to save the day, I guess. But yeah, definitely would recommend picking up Maiden Railways. Really enjoyed it. Nice short story collection by an excellent creator. But yeah, Maiden Railways, only a single volume, not a big investment. Really nice quality volume for the standard large trim size price of $13 US. Next, I have the second volume for Ran and the Grey World. Now, this is a 7-volume series, so I've read the first volume. I really enjoyed it. I want to see where it goes. I'm probably just going to wait for it to finish because it's not too long. It's only at 7 volumes. Just sort of wanted to check out that first volume just to make sure I was going to like the series, but I did enjoy it. Now, there are a few elements of the series that could be seen as problematic, such as the relationship that our main character has with another one of the characters in the series, considering that she is quite young and he is not so young. So that is a little bit, you know, that might rub you the wrong way and might drive you off from the series, but for me, it's not enough for me to not read the series, and I want to see what happens in the future because it's so whimsical, so different. The art style is very, very wonderful. Let me see if I just... yeah, right there. It's excellent. Absolutely love this series. Definitely recommend you check it out. And it's one of the series I recommended in my 5 series starting in 2018 that you should check out. So, really excited to see where this one goes. Next, we have Volume 9. For That Time, I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. Now, I have been holding off on reading this series since Volume 3. I enjoyed the first 3 volumes, but, as I've said before, I'm a binge reader, so I have not read the series since then, so don't really have much else to say, though I really enjoyed what I was reading in those first 3 volumes. This series also got an anime adaptation very recently. I think it either just wrapped up or it's entering its second cour. I can't remember. I hear it's getting good reviews. Not 100% sure because I don't really follow it too closely. But yeah, I would definitely recommend checking this one out. And I'm really interested to see where it goes sort of in future volumes. Maybe I'll catch up to the series at this point, but I think I'm just going to hold off a little bit longer, sort of to give myself a little bit more of a buffer. But I really enjoyed the first 3 volumes, and I expect it to continue being as enjoyable as it has been. But that is Reincarnated as a Slime, Volume 9. Next up, I have Tokyo Ghoul Re, Volume 9. Not much really to say about this series. Most people kind of know what Tokyo Ghoul Re is. As a continuation of Tokyo Ghoul, most people know what Tokyo Ghoul is. It's one of the most popular series, both in manga and anime format, so there aren't too many people that have not heard of this series. Supernatural, urban, supernatural setting, action, and it has more of a darker tone. Lots of edge in the series, so do keep that in mind. It's definitely pushes that edge factor a lot, but I definitely enjoyed the first series. This is, of course, the sequel series, and it has 16 volumes. I have no doubts I will enjoy Tokyo Ghoul Re because I enjoyed the first series, and it's only 16 volumes long, so I only have 7 more volumes to go. And once that 16th volume comes out, I will begin reading this series, but I imagine it will be Tokyo Ghoul continued. But yeah, Tokyo Ghoul Re, Volume 9. Next up, I have Prison School, Omnibus Volume 12. Only 2 more of these to go. As you can see, this is still in its shrink wrap. And this is an absurdist comedy. If you're not into absurdist comedy, maybe steer clear. But I have been enjoying this series. I know it got an anime adaptation, but that was a while ago. I want to say it was in 2015. So it has been a while since this anime aired. I could be wrong on that. It may have come out a little later. But yeah, it's an absurdist comedy. I don't really know what else to say other than that's what it is. If you like absurdist comedies, I'd give it a go. If you don't like absurdist comedies, you probably will not like this series, but I have been enjoying it. Only 2 more to go, so almost there at the end, so I can finally read that conclusion. But there it is, Prison School Omnibus Volume 12. Next up, I have As Miss Beelzebub Likes Volume 5. Now, I have not read this volume yet, but it's just a bunch of 4-koma, sort of sweet, relaxing comfort stories, I guess. And so I have been enjoying this series up to this point, though I will probably just be going like volume to volume. If I'm kind of meh on one, I might get the next one, I might not. It just kind of depends, but this is one of the very rare series in which I am reading volume to volume. But as far as comedy goes, if you're looking for a light, fluffy, sort of innocent little comedy series, then this is one I would recommend reading. I definitely have been enjoying it thus far. And I do believe it got an anime adaptation recently, though I don't really know anything about it, and I haven't really heard if it was a good adaptation or not, so I don't really know anything about it is basically what I'm trying to say. But yeah, As Miss Beelzebub Likes, Volume 5. Next up, I have Seraph of the End, Vampire Reign, Volume 16, or just Seraph of the End, Volume 16. And I've read up through Volume 15, have not read this volume yet. Probably going to backlog a little bit, though I believe the series is, nearing its conclusion. I would imagine it's definitely going to be under 25 volumes. Might even just like barely crest over the 20 mark. So I don't think it has too many more volumes to go. So I'll probably just wait till it ends to read it unless I see that volume count sort of starting to tick up closer to 30. But this series has vampires in it, and I like vampires, seeing what different creators decide to do with them. This is very much a shonen-y series. It's going to feel like a shonen. It's going to feel action-y, like a shonen action series. It's going to feel like that. So if that's not your kind of thing, then maybe give it a pass. Though if you really like your shonen action series, then I would definitely recommend this one, because it definitely has that feel to it. And I've been enjoying it for what it is. It's not one of the best series out there, but I definitely enjoy reading it, and I want to see how it concludes. But yeah, that is Seraph of the End, Volume 16. Next up, I have Volume 42 of Skip Beat. I am quite behind on this series. I have a lot of volumes to read before I catch up, but I've read a lot of Skip Beat. I really enjoy this series. And if you're looking to get into a shoujo, this is one I would recommend. I'd recommend starting with the first sort of 4-ish volumes. If you don't like it at that point, then I'd definitely consider dropping it. But I think the series gets really, really good by Volume 4, and I have been incredibly interested in how things turn out as the series proceeds. And I believe right now it's the longest shoujo series printed in English. I could be wrong on that, but I believe it is. But I've been really, really enjoying Skip Beat. And yeah, as I've said, if you want to try a shoujo series, this is one I would recommend. And it's just really interesting to see all the situations that the main character Kyoko has gotten herself into, and all the things that she does to sort of get out of these situations or sort of progress through them. But yeah, Skip Beat, definitely a series I would recommend. Even if you already are into shoujo, then definitely check this one out. I'm sure you have already. I think it's one of the more popular and famous ones. But yeah, Skip Beat, Volume 42, very close to the Japanese release. I think they're on 43, but I think these volumes are on a really slow release cycle. Not certain, but I want to say it's 6 months from Viz, so it might be a while before we get Volume 43. But yeah, definitely would recommend Skip Beat and have been enjoying it, though I do need to get caught up on this one. Next up, I have Volume 7 for Kaguya-sama, Love is War. I have been really enjoying this series. It's definitely picked up with each successive volume. I've been enjoying it more and more. Love seeing the introduction of new characters and how the creator just decides to weave them into the story. It's very interesting, and I really love seeing how the characters interact. And I think Akasaka has done a really nice job weaving this story together. One curious little fact, though, is I believe this series is run in Young Jump, which is the same magazine that Tokyo Ghoul is in. So it's a little weird that it has this Shonen Jump label on top of it, because it's really a seinen. Though I guess it's, kind of like One Punch Man, how that also has the Shonen Jump label on it. But yeah, if you're looking for a rom-com, I definitely recommend Kaguya-sama Love is War. I think it's excellent, and it's gotten better with each volume. So a series that just continues to pick up, definitely a series I would recommend. And I just love seeing how this series goes, and it's one of those few series I can read volume to volume, which I always like, because a lot of the time I end up getting a volume being like, well, gotta wait more. But not with this series. I can just read each one right after the other, and I really, really like that. But yeah, Kaguya-sama, Love is War, Volume 7, would definitely recommend checking out this series. Next up, I picked up the volumes of Nuragami that I was missing. Volume 16, Volume 18, and Volume 19. Japan is up at 20. We will be getting that quite soon, but yeah, Nuragami is an excellent series. I was a little bit late to the party in picking up the volumes themselves, but I definitely know of the series, and I've seen the anime. So I've known about this series for a long time. It's just been a while before I decided to pick it up. But now I finally have, and now I'm caught up. Just waiting for Volume 20 to come out. That's in Japan, and I think it's slotted for a June release, though I'm not entirely certain on that. But yeah, though this series does seem to be winding down just kind of from the story beats that I've gotten from it, so I think it'll be under 30 volumes. Can't say that with certainty, but I feel like it's definitely going to be an under 30 volume series, probably around 25. I want to say 25. Yeah, 25 is a pretty good estimate. I think it'll be around 25 volumes. But yeah, volume 16, 18, and 19, those were the ones I was missing, and here they are. Definitely go check out Nuragami. It's an excellent series. Next up, I picked up Wish by Dark Horse, which is the entire 4-volume series put out by Clamp. And I must say, this omnibus is actually quite nice. It is very heavy, so there's that. Though, that's kind of a plus and a negative, because if it's heavy, yeah, it sucks because it's heavy and it's, you know, kind of annoying. But at the same time, you know the build quality is pretty decent, because if it's heavy, you know they use nice paper, which they definitely did for this release. Haven't gotten into this one yet, but it is complete in this one book, so we'll see if I like it or not. Always love books I can just read the whole series in one, so that's always nice. But I don't really know very much about this series, so we will find out later if I enjoy this one. But yeah, that is Wish, the complete series put out by Dark Horse, and that is a Clamp series. And next up, I have Volume 3 of Tomoechan As A Girl. Don't really know what else more to say beyond just, it's a 4-panel comedy series, or rom-com, sort of more specifically. Though, it's not wholly a rom-com, because there are a lot of comedy moments that just aren't related to romance at all. Might even be 50-50, or even more than that, just comedy moments in general, as opposed to just strictly rom-com. But definitely recommend this series. From what I hear, it's ending relatively soon. I think Volume 8, the author said, is going to be the final volume. So, we're almost halfway there in English, and it's almost complete in Japan, because they have 7 volumes out over there. But definitely recommend checking out Tomoechan As A Girl. These volumes are kind of thin, though don't dissuade you, because 4-panel manga, they usually have a lot of text. Maybe not this one necessarily, but it's still definitely one I recommend, and I think it is definitely worth the purchase, because it definitely is very fun to read. Just sit down and read. And this is another one I can read volume to volume, because it doesn't, there aren't a whole lot of complicated stuff going on. You just kind of have to know who likes who, and that's basically it. What are the relationships with the characters? And since there aren't a whole ton of them, it's not very complicated. So really enjoy it, really funny. Would definitely recommend this series. Next up, I have Bloom Into You, Volume 6, and we're almost caught up with Japan. They're at 7 volumes, I believe. Still ongoing, also. And I've been enjoying Bloom Into You. I have stopped to sort of get a backlog, but definitely a Yuri I would recommend for Yuri fans. From what I remember, this one is definitely more on the innocent side, less on the physical side, so keep that in mind. Know your Yuri preferences, I guess. But yeah, really like Bloom Into You. I think it's definitely, you know, building itself up to be a really, really good, not just Yuri, but also just a romance in general. So really interested to see where this one goes, and I'm interested to see how the series decides to end itself. But I would definitely recommend checking out Bloom Into You. If you're a Yuri fan, you've probably already checked this one out. But if you're not, or if you haven't, what are you doing? This is one of the bigger ones that's coming out. So yeah, definitely recommend for a Yuri fan, or really anyone interested in just a romance story. And next up, I have Yuna and the Haunted Hot Springs Volume 5, a fan service comedy series that I have been enjoying. And I think this one got an anime adaptation as well quite recently. This one runs in Shonen Jump, which is kind of strange because it's licensed by 7 Seas. Normally they don't get to pick the Shonen Jump titles because Viz likes to have them all for themselves. But yeah, Yuna Haunted Hot Springs Volume 5. I think this series also got an anime adaptation fairly recently, but if you're looking for a comedy series and fan service doesn't bother you at all, or if it's in a specific fan service series it doesn't bother you, then I would definitely recommend checking this one out. It has its funny moments, and I have been enjoying this one a lot. I like the way, like, the quirkiness of the characters, and sort of all the things that the author decides to do with the elements that he has put in for himself. But yeah, Yuna and the Haunted Hot Springs Volume 5. And next up, I have To Love Rue Darkness Volume 9. As I have said before in several hauls, I am waiting to finish To Love Rue before I start To Love Rue Darkness, but I've been really enjoying To Love Rue, so I imagine I will also really like To Love Rue Darkness because it's the continuation. So once To Love Rue finishes, I will get into Darkness, but as of now, I haven't read any of the Darkness volumes yet, so I don't know how much different, either like atmospherically or tonally, Darkness decides to take it. But yeah, love To Love Rue, would definitely recommend it if you're looking for a rom-com, because it has a lot of quirky characters that interact in really fun and interesting ways, so definitely recommend To Love Rue. Can't speak on Darkness yet, but at some point I will be able to. And the last up for this haul, I have The Ancient Magus Bride, The Silver Yarn, which is a short story collection for The Ancient Magus Bride, the second and I believe final short story collection. And I haven't really gotten into these yet. I want to do that soon. Probably after I finish all the backlog of manga that I have currently, I will then get into these. But I really like The Ancient Magus Bride, and these are just short story collections from that, so I imagine I will enjoy them as well. But they're also anthology series, so that's always interesting. Love seeing different authors' takes on the material, as I said earlier for the Ruby anthology series. But yeah, Ancient Magus Bride, the Silver Yarn short story collection. Really interested to see what this series and its former does. And that will do it for this manga haul for the month of March 2019. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What series did you pick up? What series do you have recommendations for? Have I encouraged you to pick up any of these series, or do you want sort of more of a nuanced take on any of the ones listed? Because you want to know if you want to pick them up yourself, as well as any other comments, questions, concerns, anything like that. Leave those down in the comment section. I really do enjoy reading the comments, especially on the hauls, because you sort of get a bigger sample size with those. But yeah, as always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and share. As always, if you would like to keep up to date with all of my content, you can either follow me on Twitter, there is a link in the description, or you can hit that subscribe button and ring that notifications bell. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this March 2019 manga haul. I am Laethas. Goodbye.